All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. First off, let me say I appreciate you clicking on this video. Okay, if I've earned that click, I want to make sure you get value back. All right. So before we dive in, go ahead and smash that like button. And if you're new here, consider subscribing and hitting that bell so you don't miss the next breakdown. These are valuable drops, all right? I'm Coach UV, and this is Unique Trading Group. That's right, the Unique Trading Group. This is where strategy meets mindset and discipline turns into income. All right, you're in for a good one. Now, this week is shaping up to be really interesting. All right, on the surface, I'm bullish, but I'm not going to just go out here guns blazing. All right, I want to be really playing it cautious, unless right now at the time of this recording, the 7:43, September the 7th. All right, the market opens September 8th, Monday, fresh our time, East Coast. All right, 9:30 a.m. The futures market right now is ripping up 25%. All right. So we got a selective market. Some areas are still down, but the SPY, trust me, this is going to be the one you want to watch tomorrow. You understand what I'm saying? And for the rest of the week. So stick around because I got for you Google, Tesla, XRP, the NASDAQ is ready. SPY is ready. You don't want to miss this episode. Okay. So we're going to take a quick break and get right back to it after that. All right, listen, I just wanted to first off give a shout out to one of the Discord members. We're going to quickly get to her because I think it's important to big up these people and praise them and spot out people who really are dedicated to trading. So inside of my tier 2, all right, this lady, her name is Joy. She wrote, all right, I want to take a moment today to reflect on my journey so far with Coach UV. That's myself. I started following him about 4 months ago after coming off a tough 3-month losing streak. I was struggling emotionally and questioning my path, but then I came across Coach V during a Zoom session, and just in a short time listening to him, I learned so much. His excitement for teaching, the passion for trading, and genuine desire for everyone listening to gain a new skill stood out to me immediately. I knew I wanted more of that. Since becoming his student, I've grown tremendously. He shared countless gems that have been able to apply directly in my trades. I guess she's saying she's been able to apply them during her trading, right? So many of which have already made money. I'm still at work, in progress. I'm still a work in progress. But the growth I've experienced in just a few months has been a game changer. On one occasion, he noticed I was beating myself up over a trade and personally called me to encourage me not to give up. That call meant a lot to me and showed his true dedication to his students. Coach V is committed to helping his community win in a game that Wall Street doesn't want retail traders to succeed in. To them, we don't deserve to win. But Coach knows differently. Coach doesn't just teach strategies, he's teaching the mental game Wall Street doesn't want retail traders to master. Thanks to him, I'm calmer, more disciplined, and better prepared for both wins and losses. I can now realize many of the tricks Wall Street likes to pull, and seeing them unfold in real time has made me more confident to stay in the trade I have planned out ahead of time. I'm excited to keep learning and grateful to have Coach V on my team. I remind myself that this is a long game. He's been trading for over 10 years while I haven't even hit my first year. Yet I've already felt like he has accelerated my progress by at least 5 years with the knowledge he shared. Instead of always having to learn the hard way, I get the benefit of his wisdom, like a parent teaching a child that do's and don'ts before they learn the hard way. That's truly priceless. Thank you again, Coach, for your dedication, your time, and your commitment to helping me and all of us building generational wealth. I look forward to continuing this journey with you, making more and finishing out the year in the green. I know that's right. Listen, we're going to get to it. Thank you. Very beautiful message, guys. Listen, this is possible for that person who desires to trade. It's very possible. You understand? Appreciate that, Joy. All right, listen, like I said, all right, I'm bullish. All right, playing it cautious. But here's why. We got economic data coming in, all right? We got the quadruple witching coming, all right, September 19th. And from the COT report, which I already talked about in the Discord, The banks, the institutions, the big players that are positioning, right? They're positioning in a way that suggests we could see some shakeouts, all right? Maybe some head fakes, right, before the true continuation comes in. So this is about being strategic, waiting for A+ setups and understanding that the levels really matter, right? That's what it's about. It's about A+ setups, okay? And so with that said, we're right here on the chart with SPY. All right, and this is the market context. I want you guys to take notes and pay attention. All right, this video won't be long, but it's very important. All right, so listen, I'm leaning bullish, but bullish doesn't really mean reckless. It means that I know exactly what levels keep thesis alive. All right, and what levels, if broken, invalidated. It also means that I'm aware of the volume. The volume sitting where it's sitting at. You understand that volume really matters, right? And right now we have a bullish momentum, right? The futures are ripping right now at the time of this message. That's just what's going on. But honestly, where the traps could spring are those levels with itself, and how the gamma squeezes can flip the script. That's right, gamma squeezes. It's the fuel for these prices to go in our favor, all right? Because remember, this isn't just about candles moving on a chart. This is order flow, volume, positioning, psychology, all right? That's why we treat this week like a chessboard, not a casino, all right? So this is what we're going to do. This is the framework. Pay attention. This is the combo, the framework that you're going to use to print money. And remember that I'm not a financial advisor, all right? I'm only a coach and mentor, all right? These videos are for educational purposes only, and they're entertaining. But if you could take it serious, maybe paper trade, right? You could find some value in seeing the confidence that you could have making money, all right? Day trading for a living. Now listen, here's the game plan. We're going to use the 4-hour combo with the 30 minutes. So we're going to go to the 4-hour on SPY. You guys participate with me. That's right. Engage. Go ahead and go to the 4-hour time frame. This is the video to watch before the market opens. This will be the one that's going to change the way you think. This is the one, all right? So listen, step by step, all right? Now, if you're not familiar with the DPMR system, that DPMR system is a video that I put out, all right, for my YouTube community and also my subscribers for my Discord, all right, the Unique Trading Group. It's a short video. It gets straight to the point, and it's a trading plan, a system that I've noticed over the years that I always use, and it's very simple. It's like a traffic light: green light, yellow light, and red light. All right, now this video is not about that, but I use this system religiously, and so it's going to be there in the mix of the context SPY. And so what do we have? We have a combo, all right? It's the 4-hour combo with a 30-minute execution. All right, here's the game plan. The 4-hour chart is where I'm watching the overall structure. All right, you can kind of see that. All right, see these numbers over here. All right, this tells me that we're setting up for a drop-based drop, possibly a market move down, or we are building out higher low that traps shorts and pushes us higher. All right, so that's the macro lens, the bigger time frame. Now let's switch over to the 30-minute. All right, and I'm going to explain that green, yellow, and red light. Right, these numbers mean something. Remember, 645 is the previous close. Always keep that in mind. All right, I dropped a video about that as well over the weekend for you, so I know you guys are prepared. All right, these same numbers are like deja vu, and they matter. Right, that's where the casino is. That's where that button lies, where money just prints. All right, it's at these levels where a lot of volume is going into it, right? And that's why I use the volume profile. All right, a fixed range. So listen to me. All right, I want to drink some water, right? We real here, right? I want to dry mouth while I'm trying to talk to you guys. All right, listen, the 30-minute chart. We're here now. All right, this is where the rubber meets the road. That's where the entries, exits, precision comes in. All right, you got to think on the 4-hour as the architect drawing the building, and the 30-minute is the engineer putting in the bolts, right? And putting all the bolts and screws in place. All right, and I'm still referencing the daily and the weekly charts to know my risk levels. That's where these lines come from. All right, this is a daily price movement range, the weekly price movement range. All right, the low, the midway point, and the high. All right, the high where we rejected from. Okay, and so that's where I'm getting these levels from. All right, now what validates, what invalidates, because without those you're just guessing. All right, and guessing is not a strategy. So the volume profile, what you see in front of you, make the screen a little bigger so you guys can see. The volume profile is showing you where the most volume is in the most simplest form, and price reacts where the most volume is. And where there's no volume, it acts like a magnet. It shoots up to price, okay? And we have a gap on the SPY that possibly might be trying to get filled to retest these highs. You understand what I'm saying? So right now we're above 645, all right? Remember, 645 is our actual number on the monthly, all right? We want to watch that monthly close when September 1st got here, all right? Watch the action around 645. Why is that? Because when the market closed Friday, we were at 645.96, which is the key, right? That's the key, because that's right around the monthly close, but it's not below it, all right? It's right above it. Okay, so that's not just a random number, that's the magnet level. Staying above it keeps us bullish, all right? It gives us that bullish structure. It keeps it intact, but it also is the kind of level that can act as a trap. The market loves to flirt with the monthly closes and drag traders into the wrong side. So below that, the zones I'm watching on the 4 hour. Now you see this time frame and these same numbers apply, but the zones that I'm watching on the 4 hour are 643, 637, 638, and 634, all right? Remember those numbers I gave you. I'll say them again. 643, 637, 638, and 634. All right. These are my numbers that I want to be watching, okay? And you can see here that these are previous demand zones and levels that we left before. Okay? Now, around 643, 644, you got a high volume node. All right? You got a high volume node. Okay? Right around here. Now this is on a 30-minute. Let me remove this. All right, now that's where business has already been done. All right, and price tends to stall or retest. So if we lose 644 and then come back up to only reject, that level becomes overhead resistance, and you can almost see sellers leaning heavy on that node. So a drop down to 638 actually, right, which would be right around here, 638 right here. Suddenly the volume gets thin, and that's a low volume node, and then price enters a thin zone. So I'm going to show you this right now with the volume profile. Okay, price dropping below here, remember right here, 642 breakdown. All right, 640 breakdown. All right, more thin zones where the volume gets thinner. These blue and red bars you see represent volume, and the more longer you see going this way horizontal, that's where most of the volume is. So as we break down below these prices and the volume gets thinner, it's like a magnet, and so we could go back towards these prices. That's the thinking behind it, and I wanted you guys to understand it. All right, thanks for sticking with me, and if you've been enjoying this commentary so far, hit that like button. I appreciate you guys sticking around. All right, those who are dedicated can be just like that lady Joy in the beginning for my Discord, just with a testimonial from the heart. All right, and so let's keep this going. All right, so where was I? Price. All right, enter into that thin zone to the bottom. You want to watch for that 644 level for sure. All right, that's where you can see that acceleration and quick sweeps, sharp candles. All right, now below that number, all right, it's 634, 637. Obviously these are the numbers, right? 634, 637. So we're back into that volume shelf. Price bounced here before. Okay, that's where demand has historically stepped in. We see that. All right, so if buyers defend, that's the spot that can turn into a bear trap. All right, to get you that two-try failure that we love. All right, we love that two-try failure. All right, I'm going to show you here. All right, you let the bears try once, let them try twice. All right, and this is that zone. All right, now I got you once I can get them trapped. Now this is the technical trap, all right, a W shape. Okay, and it doesn't always happen, but when it occurs, I'm ready for it. Now this is just a scenario. Remember, this is a plus setup video. All right, this is the game plan, the playbook for next week. All right, this is going to apply all week. All right, the same numbers are going to apply. So remember, I said that because I'm going to be recapping this in the future. All right, see how this is a matrix? It's also a feedback loop, and so replay this and study this, and remember that I'm teaching you guys this. All right, because these same numbers can trap. They can trap them, and we use their stops as fuel. We know that the stops are above here. We know that. We know that a technical trap means that we can get this explosive move the same way we got here. All right, things tend to repeat themselves, you see. As I move over the chart, you can actually see that demand was here before again, and so it's not really that hard to imagine. You understand what I'm saying? This is why volume profile is so powerful. It's actually showing you right now on the chart that SPY is a byproduct of the future movements, and right now the futures market is going up. All right. Like I said, the futures market is going up, and I'm going to show you the Nasdaq. This is not ES, the futures market, but this is the SPY, and we're going to be focusing on that. Now, the gamma and the squeeze dynamics. All right, this is going to layer in the options positioning with quadruple witching right around the corner. All right, the gamma dynamics are amplified. So at these key nodes that I'm giving you, 647.53 midway point. All right, if we break past that, the next level we're trying to get to is 652. All right, so the gamma squeeze is at 647. That creates the conditions for either gamma squeeze where price gets pinned and rip higher, or a gamma unwind where it accelerates lower. So we have to watch the opening price. All right, don't chase. Do not chase in the morning. I'm telling you guys, do not chase. All right, risk. All right, risk. Here's the thing, and I really need you to hear this. All right, just because the setup looks spicy doesn't mean you force it. You don't want to force any trades. All right, you just don't want to do that. It's nothing that you want to do. So we're going to go back to the 4 hour. All right. This is what like a trading math game. Okay, it's probabilities. Okay, you can see the same thing that I just gave you on a 30-minute right here in front of you. All right. Now, a trader who wins is not the one who catches every move. It's the one who has the process and sticks to it, and he lives to play another day. All right, this is the matrix twist. Okay, I want you to understand what it's about. It's a matrix twist. Once you understand that every candle is your trade, all right, that sometimes no trade is the winning trade. You start playing this game on a whole nother level. All right, the amateurs react, the professionals anticipate. So the big picture and quad witching. All right, and don't forget the calendar. September 19th is the quadruple witching week. All right, then when options, futures, and indices all expire together, that's what that means. And the market tends to get violent and volatile. Add in the economic data this week, all right, and the chances of head fakes and stop runs go way up. So big players will use these repositioning, rebalancing, and they'll happily trap retail traders who are very overly eager, I would say. So that's why patient pays. Aligns with the flow of big money. All right, don't fight it. That's why my book that I published and wrote for the trading community, after my 10-year run in trading, all right, I wrote a book for you guys, whether you're beginner or immediate. All right, to get you started. All right, that link is below. It's called The Power of Paytience with a P-A-Y. All right, get familiar with it. All right, that book will literally just really kind of change and give you a learning curve as you're trying to trade and you're joining a group and you're trading with us live. All right, that's what the point of it all is. All right, and so before I close, all right, I'm going to check out Bitcoin for you guys as promised. All right, listen, Bitcoin right now needs to really stay above 111,365. All right, right now we close at 11,370, and so if we're above that, we're going to stay bullish right now. So this is a 30-minute time frame. Go to the weekly time frame. All right, bear with me as I navigate this screen. All right, now we're going to be talking about XRP, Google, and the Nasdaq, checking it out. We're going to move quickly through these, and we're going to be closing, all right, because I didn't want to keep you guys for a long time, so I appreciate you rocking with me. This is all valuable information, and hey, some people want Bitcoin and all these analysis for different stocks. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so right now we're on the 30-minute. Let's go to the daily time frame. All right, now long term, people are buying, holding long term, right? Selling, trading it, buying the dips, all right? But if you're trading it, right, either for the long term, the technical still work. All right, now the daily is okay time frame, but it's really not a big time frame to give you that 3-5 year look that you want to really be looking at. You want to look longer than that. You want to think long term, 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years. All right, especially when it comes to stocks, you want to know, have they been paying dividends? All right, are they profitable? These are very important things to understand. Are they profitable? Check the balance sheet. Use ChatGPT to find out some of these things. Not to say that AI is completely the end-all be-all for all the information, but it can speed up the process if done right, if spoken to right, to find out information that can accelerate your thinking and get the concepts pushing out there for you, right? Because you need to understand long term. And with Bitcoin right now in the short term, we have lower highs. All right, we have lower highs. Okay, we are rejecting right now. There's a possibility that we could retest some of these lows. All right, but we have to break this trend line here. All right, we have to break that simple trend line. If we can break that line, we can retest some of these lows. Okay, the volume profile is here. Okay, right here. Below here, all right, we have some weakness, but we can have a trap right here at 107. So we can bounce right back and forth inside of these moments here, right? So what you have is a move down into a range, a bear move down into a range. And until it breaks that range, we can stay coiled inside of this moment here, all right? But below here, below this moment, all right, below this range, all right, we can revisit 100,000. And below there, where it could really get ugly. What you want to watch is for head and shoulder, but this is a bearish technical pattern right here on Bitcoin. All right, let's move along. All right, XRP. Excuse me, guys. Thanks for rocking with me. We're going to keep it going. XRP is coiling right here on the daily. Got a triangle here, you see. Okay, it's just been consolidating for a couple of days now, like a week or so. So, we need to see what's going to happen. All right, we got a lot of things happening. The COT report, the commitment of traders, it's a website where they give out data and let us know what the big players, the banks, the commercial, the non-commercial, the spectators, the retailer traders, right? We can see that data, the raw data, and see if they're buying or selling XRP, just like the SPY or cattle or wheat or rice or commodities, right? We can see those buys, and there's literally evened out balance. It's not too many buyers over the sellers, and it's not too many sellers over the buyers. Literally in the dead middle. And so XRP is in a consolidation mode, waiting on a catalyst. All right, waiting on the catalyst. It's been stuck in this range for a while, and so you want to just wait. All right, if you're a long-term person or XRP, then of course you want the best prices. All right, if we could break below here, 268, which we're 20-30 points away from that now, we could see a flush down quickly to 240. All right, with some economic news or some such. We do have lower highs. That's bearish structure. All right, so we're not bullish until we break over this here line here on XRP. All right, remember these, because I'm going to come back and let you know. All right, we got to break over to be bullish. All right, we have to break over there to be bullish. All right, let's go ahead and get to Google. All right, I know you guys are excited about Google as well. All right, we are at 235. Remember, I got the people in my Discord inside of this trade. I also took the trade as well. All right, I'm informed to buy the dip at 206, between 206 and 212. And we have those prices here. The dip was bought. All right, I'm still holding calls, but I did shave off some. All right, that's that movement you have here on September 4th. All right, and now we are up here in these highs. I want to say be cautious, guys. All right, this is a intraday time frame. Be cautious, okay? All right. Now let's check Google right now. This is the 1 hour. All right, this is the 1 hour on Google. It's looking really, really good, but we have this massive gap here on Google, and I want to see what is Google doing pre-market, because right now SPY is ripping. All right now Google is at 235.75 with some bullish pressure. All right, we are looking rippy tomorrow, guys. We are looking rippy. So you guys be prepared. All right, see these levels and get in and out of your trades. Take that profit and do not be greedy. Listen, right now Google is making higher lows. It's above the previous close, which is 235, and so we're going to be bullish until then. All right, watch for a breakdown below 235. All right, if we break down below 234, all right, that's our last line in the sand before we see some more discounts towards 233. But ultimately 230, all right, 230 would be a place that I would like to buy Google at. But as of now, I'm super bullish. My next targets are 240 and 250 on Google, and we are Rip City. Congratulations to those who took some of these trades. The NASDAQ, last but not least, before we double back the SPY and finish this. All right, listen, the NASDAQ is up. Wow. All right, plus 95. Here, you see here, 0.40%. They're trying to retest these highs, 23.9. All right, that's the NASDAQ for you. All right, now we go to the 1 hour. These moves are happening because, obviously there's some bullish momentum. All right, the dip continually to get bought. All right, so we're not safe until we break over 23.9, but that's the next level. We already breaking past and gotten over these past zones here. All right, so the bulls have taken control, guys. It's shaping up to be a really, really nice week and a nice day. I say be cautious. Please do not chase. If you're not already in, wait for pullbacks. But if you are in profit, take some of these profits around these levels. All right, right now we are above the closing price on SPY. We are at 648, and so I want to close with this on the intraday time frame to let you guys know where we can see more prices at. Okay, listen, if we're at 648 right now, okay, we are trying to go out and take out. So we could stop at 650. 650 could be another place of resistance, okay? But if not, 652 is obviously the next level here because this is our previous highs. It's really not that hard. We have a thin zone, all right? And they act like magnets, a vacuum for price right in this thin zone, all right? Now, if we could take out this here, I want you guys to realize one thing that's important. If we can get up here, right? Stocks don't go straight up, right? It does a thing, all right? Breakout, pullback, right? Maybe that's a buy for you right here, a breakout pullback. But always wait for pullbacks if you miss that, because we can fall back here to another halfway point, all right? Inside of this whole range right here. And that's what you need to be thinking about. You understand what I'm saying to you? I hope so, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video so far. It's going to be a spicy one. So here's the takeaway. I'm bullish, all right, but cautious, all right? We already know what's up. All right, at the end of the day, it's not about predicting every tick. It's about having a plan, managing your risk, and remembering that strategy plus mindset with discipline, it will turn into income. All right, it will turn into income. And if you got value from this breakdown, do me a favor, smash that like button. That's right, smash that like button. This is Coach UV in the Unique Trading Group. You guys know how we like to do. Drop a comment. Let me know how you're feeling. Tell me what levels you're watching. Any other stocks you want to recommend for me to go and check out. I would love to do that for you. But I will be watching these tickers we went over tonight very closely. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss the next breakdown. All right. This is the Unique Trading Group where strategy meets mindset and discipline turns into income. You guys stay safe out there. Be blessed. Trade smart. And I'll catch you in the next one. Until the next time. Peace.